Hello, everyone. This is Rebecca Green for the Whiny Palooza podcast, and I am very excited this morning because I get to talk to the lovely and wonderful Janet Philbin. Janet, thank you so much for doing this with me today.
I'm so happy to be with you.
Let me tell you about this fantastic lady. Janet is a therapist, certified hypnotherapist, conscious parenting coach, and author of Show Up for Yourself. For more than 25 years, Janet has helped adults heal emotional wounds, reconnect with themselves, and break painful patterns that often get passed from one generation to the next. After doing her own deep healing work, Janet now helps parents and individuals show up with more awareness, compassion, and connection, both for themselves and for the people that they love. So, we all need Janet. And I have so many questions for her. We'll see what I get to. But I do think people don't necessarily know what conscious parenting is. Can you tell them like what is conscious parenting?
That is a great question. And I think you're right. And a lot of people don't understand what it is. So, conscious parenting is actually all about the parent. It is not about fixing your child because the child is not broken, but
Right.
instead, the child is an awakener for the parent, so the parent can see their own pain. So,
Mm,
what we are reacting to as a parent at our children, right? We're yelling, we're impatient, we're frustrated, we're sending them to timeouts, and all the ways we react and then reenact. Conscious parenting says, look at what's coming up within you. Allow your child to be a mirror for you and work on yourself. Let's help you heal. And when you take care of your wounded inner child, your younger selves, unmet needs, then you will not need to react to the child in front of you the way you have been. And instead, you can connect. Conscious parenting is about connection, not correction. So it's really very beautiful. It has transformed my relationship with my children over the last 11 to 12 years since I learned about conscious parenting and then became a conscious parenting coach. And for the last 6 years, also an advisor to Dr. Shafali at the Conscious Parenting and Life Coaching Institute she runs. So I happen to be very involved in it, and I put that out there as a disclaimer as well. So I'm not, I want people to know that like this is part of also the work I do professionally as I help to train people who also want to become parent coaches or want to do that deep dive learning into conscious parenting for themselves. So they join the Institute. So it's something I practice and something I preach and something I screw up all the time because because parents can't do things perfect. There's no such thing as
no,
perfect.
no.
So I never ever claim to be a conscious parent doing it right, quote unquote,
Mm,
ever. Because if I did, I would be in my ego, and my ego is what's going to trip me up.
that makes so much
Instead, a
sense.
conscious parent owns their screw ups and goes back to their child or their spouse or their boss or their friend and go, I just messed that up. And this is why, and I'm going to own it. And tell me your experience and what do you need so we can do better next time. So it's a big question, what is conscious parenting? And it is very hard to sum it up in a few minutes, but that I think how I just summed it up is probably pretty good. I know I'm leaving a million things out, but feel free to ask me more questions to clarify
Of
anything I said.
course. I mean, I have to tell you, I came up with like 10 questions while you were talking. I have so many questions. I think that, our kids obviously our kids are not the problem, but our kids present stuff to us. And,
Sure.
I think that attitude is probably not specific enough for people, but, you know, my daughter comes at me with an attitude, and I think we can either respond or react, right?
Mhm.
So, can you tell us the difference? And then I have another question.
Sure. So when we react, we're coming from a wounded place inside of us. So your daughter comes at you with an attitude, and I get it. I have one of those. And we feel like I can only use myself as an example. I don't want to project onto you. So
Sure.
I hear that very pressured attitude kind of energy coming at me from my daughter. I can, what are you talking to me like that? I can answer like that, or go away until you could talk to me nice. I could do those things and pick a number we all have. Or I can recognize in the moment. So that would be reacting right back at them, right? Like a punch. Or I can take a moment and go, whoa, she's stressed about something, can't articulate it, even though she's in her early 20s, and is coming at me with her anxiety energy, with her impatience energy. So when I can go, put your hand on your chest for people who are listening, take a breath and say, okay, what's going on with her? And pause. Then I can respond and say, okay, I hear this is important to you. What's going on? What do you need from me? How can I be most supportive to you right now? Then it's not personal. I'm not being attacked, but I'm meeting her where she's at. And when I can do that, she decreases, her energy calms down because all anybody wants is to be seen and heard and know that they matter. So when I can meet her where she's at, like, wow, this kid is riled up about something. This is not about me. She is not attacking me. It's just her energy. Then I'm responding. But if I snap back, we're going to fight. And
Yep.
that's a reaction. Does that clarify
That's
that?
perfect. That's perfect. So, as a parent, how do we know that we have healing that we need to do?
Yeah. So if you're always snapping back at your kids, if you're yelling too much, we're all going to yell, right? Yelling too much, arguing too much, over controlling. Everything they say or do is pointed at you and you're taking it personal. If you notice anytime your kids are coming at you, as you said, you're getting a sensation in your body, like your jaw tightens, you get a headache, your stomach hurts, you just want to sleep, avoid the day. Like you, parents have to pay attention to what's coming up within them. This can't be comfortable to feel this way. But unfortunately, most people will not reach out for help, whether that's to a coach or a therapist, until the pain is too great for them to contain and it's now impacting their life in other ways.
That makes so much sense. I mean, I know that the answer is to find a good therapist with my next question. But if the parents listening are hearing you and they're like, oh, wow, I have a lot of healing to do you have any advice for them at home right now?
Just begin.
Yeah.
A lot of people, there's a lot of stigma about reaching out for help, right?
Mm,
That means something's wrong with me, something's broken. But
yeah.
I would reframe that to the moms listening or dads that there's a younger version of yourself inside that went through something a long time ago and you never got to process it. No one ever validated your feelings. You weren't allowed to express your feelings. You pushed it down, pushed it down, pushed it down, and kept moving through life ignoring this pain point.
Mm,
So it's scary to think about touching that painful, traumatic event from the past. However, you already survived it. You already lived through it. So, though it may feel scary to talk about it and unbox it, it's never going to be as painful as the original event. And you'll be with someone who could support you through unpacking it in a safe way.
Really good advice. And I do want to shift to your
Mhm.
book, Show Up for Yourself. Tell us what inspired this and what it's about.
Sure. So the book's been out 6 years now, which I really can't believe. Came out right as COVID started, so that was fun. Um, but it gave me a chance to reach a lot of people, over Zooms and things like that. So what inspired it was my own journey of healing through my own childhood trauma.
Mm,
And that journey started when I was in graduate school as a social work student in a child developmental psychology class. And just like you were saying, like I was like in pain, I was triggered. I was in this class going like unable to breathe almost because
mm,
everything the professor was talking about that we had to read was waking up what I like to call poking my childhood wounds.
mm,
And I had to start therapy. And that was so scary for me. That was back in 1990. And I literally opened the yellow pages, which no one uses anymore. And I went to A, and the first therapist that kind of hit the bill with her specialty was the one I called. And that was a long time ago, very, very almost 40 years ago, long time ago.
wow.
And it's been a journey. And so I'll tell people there's no destination, there's no end. I hate to say it, but it's true. I'm walking proof. It's a journey of healing, unfolding, and coming back and revisiting from a healthier place. So that's what inspired me to write my book. So my book is part memoir as far as like my journey, though I don't specifically talk about my specific trauma because I don't want to pigeonhole
Mm,
anyone saying, well, I didn't go through that, so this doesn't apply to me. It applies to everybody. And then I take the reader through a process of deconstructing what's going on with them. What are the things you can look at within yourself? Within the book are pages with journal prompts. So I encourage the reader, write in the book. Use the journal prompts in the book, write in the margins. If people read the ebook or listen to the audiobook, fabulous. Get a dedicated notebook and write your answers. Use the book. I bring people through what hypnosis is and how that works for healing. I have a chapter on the chakras and
mm,
how everything we've experienced in our life is actually stored in the energy centers of the physical body. And the way I work with people incorporates those energy centers because I'm also a Reiki master. Though I don't
ooh,
I don't talk about that much. I don't specifically do Reiki with people, but use Reiki knowledge in sessions as far as helping people get the energy out of their body. And then I have a concept in my book called the spiral of healing. And
mm,
so the spiral of healing has four components: love, I said it backwards, feel, heal, love, grow. So, or grow love. Wow. Um, but anyway, it's interesting. I said it like backwards twice or mixed up twice because it really doesn't go in order. It can go in any order, but I think of it as a spiral that we go in order to rise up. And you have to go through all the layers. You have to feel the felt experience. You have to heal, which means take care of those wounded parts inside of you. Then we grow from that. And then we move into love, which is self love and self care. And so, with every aspect of our life that we're looking at, we're going through each of these layers. And so, if we have to revisit an event, we're not revisiting the same exact layer. We're visiting
Mm.
another layer of it, and maybe it won't be as hard because maybe we already visited the hardest layer. So the book is a journey for the reader because I wrote it because I'm like, I can't get to all the people that need to understand how to help themselves grow and heal. So it's really a self-growth book. I want people to grow. And so this is a guide to do that. Not step by step. You don't have to go in order and check all the boxes because no one heals and grows in the same way on their journey.
So what we're telling people is that going through the healing and the growing is going to make them such a better parent.
Absolutely, because they will be more grounded and feel safe within themselves.
And then we show up different for our kids.
Yes, we can show up whole. Like, okay, I'm here for you in a less wounded state, so I can help tolerate what you are going through right now. I can hold you because I'm not full of holes, HOLESs anymore. I'm whole,
Yes.
WHOLE, or more whole.
I mean, I don't want to generalize, but I feel like we all have holes.
100% we do. There's no
Right.
such thing as someone who got through life completely untainted.
Right? I mean, we all, everyone, no one has had a perfect life. I
No.
don't think that exists. So we all have triggers. How can, and everybody knows from listening to this, we need to heal our wounds. But how do we recognize our triggers that we're being triggered?
Yeah, that's so great. And I'm going to start by saying I don't like the word trigger. And I'll tell you
Mm,
why, because I think trigger displaces blame on the other person. So if I was with you, Rebecca, and you said something to
mm,
me and
yes.
it caused some upset, I would just say, you made me upset.
Hmm.
Then I'm blaming you and I'm not owning my stuff.
That's
So
true.
I like to say that I was poked, that we're poked, that someone woke up a sleeping lion inside of us, and now we want to roar back. So
Hmm.
we can say, Rebecca, wow, when you said that, I felt, or I became upset, or my stomach got tight, or I just wanted to vomit. Then I'm owning it. I'm not blaming you for it. So when I realized that something happened within me because of an experience outside of me, whether it's a conversation with someone else or something I witness or hear, I can stop for a moment. And I call this a purposeful pause, which I have a chapter on in the book, and say, okay, what just happened within me? What do I need right now to take care of me? I have to stop. I need to take a breath. Maybe I need to get a glass of water, step outside, put my feet in the grass, or step on something cold to ground me and say, who, what inside of me is in pain, and what do I need to take care of me? And that's the beginning to understanding our pain points.
And it comes at the, I would say, moments that we don't expect.
Oh, yes.
It's like the least expected moments, and you're like, whoa, why do I
Mhm.
feel so triggered right now?
That's right. So instead, I would encourage your listeners to just use a different language, like, wow, what just poked me and
Yeah.
who inside me needs help. So even if someone is with their toddler who's having a Jagunda meltdown on the floor, been there, done that,
Yep. Yep.
um, and you can't leave the room because they won't be safe, you can let them have their fit, keep your eyeballs on them, go to the corner of the room, get a drink of water. Just focus on your breath and know they're just doing their thing. I'm going to take care of me while they're doing their thing. If you have an older child, let them know I'm stepping outside for a second or I have to go to the bathroom. Gain your composure, take care of you,
Yes.
and then re-enter the room. And that's where connection comes in, right? We want to connect with that child, not punish them because they were having big feelings.
Well, so that is a really good segue to boundaries and discipline. Okay.
Mm.
So let's talk about we want to be a conscious parent, we want to be a healed parent. Take all that together, then how do we effectively set a boundary, set some discipline?
Yeah, that's great. So I love that you use the word discipline because a lot of parents hear the word discipline and they think punishment. But the source, the Latin source of the word discipline is actually to teach.
Mm,
So if
yes.
parents can first reframe discipline for themselves as this is a teaching moment,
Mm,
then you can move forward a little more easily. And in conscious parenting, we talk about something called naturally occurring consequences. So, what does that look like? So, for a young child, and this was actually a true story, mom had her 4 year old in the bathtub and also had a baby, maybe one. And so, had to go take care of the baby, ran out of the bathroom for a hot minute to deal with the baby and came back. And of course, the 4 year old took all the water out of the tub and it was all on the floor of the bathroom. I was like, "What did you do?" She goes, "Well, I took away his iPad." And I said, did he use the iPad to throw all the water out of the tub? No, of course not. Why would I give him the iPad in the tub? I'm like, well, that makes no sense.
right,
It's not going to
right.
make sense to your kid. So, what would a naturally occurring consequence in that case be? Well, next time he takes a bath, and maybe for a couple of times, he gets about an inch of water, just enough to soap him up, soap him down. He gets no toys. And he soaps up, soaps down, gets cleans, and come out. We don't get to play. That's the naturally occurring consequence. So we don't have to punish ever when you use a naturally occurring consequence. It's usually the parent's angst that leads to punishment, like your kid forgets their homework at school. You want to drive them back and solve the problem and just go get the homework. Well, they don't learn anything from that. If they forget their homework in school, they have to deal with the consequence of maybe they get no recess, maybe they get a zero, maybe they have to do it in school and lose out on free time. That's all okay. But parents want to rescue their kids all the time. But when we do that, we take away their agency. So that's
Mm,
one way.
yeah.
It's naturally occurring consequences, excuse me. The other way is containment. And I like to use, I'm so sorry, an example of a cardboard box. So, what happens, Rebecca, if you get a big refrigerator, cardboard box, and you give it to your kids and say, go play? What would they do?
They might make it into some sort of fort.
Yeah,
They might use it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You might give them markers or paint and say, decorate it, have a great time. It's going to be the best. But we tell them, you can't paint on the walls. You can't draw a marker on the floor. You can use the marker and paint anywhere in and on that box, but not outside the box, right? So we do the same thing with containment.
Mm.
It's time for them to pick up their bedroom. Okay, you have to clean your room today. You have till 9 o'clock to pick all the laundry up off the floor. Then you say nothing. You wait, maybe it's the morning. So maybe you wait a couple of hours and then maybe you just do a little check-in. Hey, don't forget 9 o'clock, it's 12. Do you want me to set a timer for you so you remember? Right? And so you give them the container.
I like that.
Let them screw it up so they don't pick up their laundry by 9 o'clock. Okay, so that didn't work, that I gave you till 9 o'clock. Help me come up with another way for you to be successful tomorrow. Because now it's 9 o'clock, you have to go to bed. You're going to need to go to bed with all the laundry on the floor. Mom's not doing it. What do you think's going to work for you tomorrow so you can be successful?
And I want to emphasize what you said because I don't know if people are catching it, but sometimes they know what's going to work for themselves. So I
Exactly.
like love so much what you're saying. Yes. Yes, because I will say to my daughter, what do you think? What should we
hmm
do? And
hmm
sometimes they come up with great stuff. We don't have to come up with it.
Exactly, because they really know themselves better than we know them in many ways.
Yeah.
And so that lets your kid know you trust them and you value them. And
Oh,
that
that
might be enough of a motivator than any way that a parent tries to over control. Because when we over control our kid, they're going to lie and sneak because that's what kids do. They just want to get their needs met.
That is so true. Very, very good points. So many good points. I do want to go back to the physical body though, because
Sure.
you're saying that we carry emotions there. Can you
Hmm.
talk about what that looks like?
Sure. So let me think if I can give a good example. I'm sure one will pop into my head. Um, so I had a client years ago who, when she first came to me, she was like this. It was very hard for her to talk. So she couldn't really fully move her jaw when she talked. She came from a pretty strict household that was still raising their children in very like olden ways and Orthodox, more Eastern Orthodox culture. And so as a kid, she wasn't allowed to share her feelings and talk.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and she had a young child at the time. I think her son was 3 or 4. And so we did a lot of work around the body, around releasing tension, around understanding what this was, and just giving her the space to talk about things she was never allowed to talk about, even basic feelings. And slowly over time, and it took time, and this was a traditional psychotherapy client, that jaw loosened. And by the time we
unbelievable.
finished therapy, she had full range of motion in the jaw. It's been studied. Bessel van der Kolk wrote a book, The Body Keeps the Score, if your viewers aren't familiar with it. And he talks about the science behind how the body holds the memories of the emotional trauma. So there were many ways to get into the body to do that work. But first is paying attention to that felt experience. I know when I'm anxious about something, I feel it in my stomach. I might not even be aware that I'm anxious about something, but I feel it in my gut and I pause. I'm like, all right, what's going on today? Is this a good thing, anticipation, or am I nervous about something? Because they can feel the same.
Hmm.
So the first thing is awareness and start to get to know yourself because many people are very cut off at the neck. There's no connection between the mind and the body. And it's like they're two different things, but
It's
really
true.
they're connected. And we perceive things at all levels of awareness, conscious and unconscious. We perceive things through neuroception. So that is pre-conscious. So my nervous system is reading your nervous system, Rebecca, from the minute we turned on the Zoom. And I immediately, my nervous system said, oh, this is a safe place. We're going to have a fun conversation today.
I'm
As
so
opposed
glad.
to other times, I'm like, okay, Janet, stiffen up because this is going to be a ride. My nervous system knows that. So even if
Yes,
someone doesn't say a word to you, your body is giving you information. So the first step is just inviting your listeners to listen to their bodies. Ooh, I just felt the tightness in my heart, my chest, my gut. My neck is tight. Why is my neck tight? Every single time I have a conversation with this person, right? Or every single time my kid comes at me. Your body is telling you there's a part of you that needs attention emotionally.
amazing. It's amazing. And a lot of us are not aware of this. So everybody listen. I want to bring us to hypnotherapy. I just
Okay.
feel like this whole segment goes to hypnotherapy. I have never, I have no experience with this. I know nothing about it. Tell us how this can maybe play into stuff.
Oh my gosh. It plays into everything as far as I'm concerned. Not everyone needs to be hypnotized. No. But the unconscious mind is always there. And we respond to the present moment based on our lived experiences in the past. And the unconscious mind has no sense of time. So if I fell down when I was 5 years old and skinned my knee, and I went to my mother with a bloody knee, and she was like you're okay, leave me alone. I'm having a conversation with a friend right now. Go play. I would internalize that in some way and maybe say, my needs aren't important. Take care of myself. Mom doesn't love me.
Mm,
And I form certain beliefs. And out of those beliefs, I develop coping skills. So maybe my coping skill is, all right, I got to go figure out how to clean up my boo-boo and put a band-aid on it all by myself. I have to always comfort myself. No one's going to ever take care of what I need. I am not important. So then I become an adult, and either I become an overachiever where I don't let anyone close and I take care of my needs, or I make sure I'm taking care of everyone else's needs and I'm abandoning my needs because they're not important. All of these behaviors in my adult life are being informed by a 5-year-old who didn't get her needs met in that moment, who wasn't seen, heard, cared for, loved, even physically taken care of. Right now, that story did not happen to me, but it's a good example because
it's a
everyone
great
falls
example.
down and skins
Yes.
their knee. So, in hypnosis, the way I work, and I'm going to say this to your listeners, not everyone works the way I work. Okay. I work from a trauma informed lens. Everything is done safely. So we go back and look at the skinned knee event in an altered state, which you get through deep meditation. Not much difference than meditation. We just go a little deeper and we just separate. So the conscious mind is there, it's listening, but I move it to the side and I can talk directly to the unconscious. And we look at the scene and we understand what happened to that little kid. But then the thing that we do is we have the adult self now go rescue that child and bring them to a safe place. I like to say no wounded inner child left behind. And
Mm,
then from there, we can talk to that child, find out the beliefs, the stories, like I just said about the skin knee. How is that impacting the adult? We remove all that from the physical body because it was stored somewhere in the body. We replace it with a lot of love, and then we put in new good coping skills that are healthy and are going to work in someone's life now. Because you see, that 5-year-old doesn't know I'm now 50. So we have to tell them you're all grown up. And they're like, what? They don't even know because the
yep.
unconscious mind is stuck in time. So if I want to find something in my computer and I want to find all the pictures of dogs, but I type in cat, I'm going to find nothing. So as a hypnotherapist, I have to know what I'm looking for. And then we get to the right spot. But it ties back into the spiral of healing because we're dealing with maybe one or two events at once, but we're healing in layers, doing this process, and then we come back again. So hypnosis is not a one and done. I won't work with someone for one session, minimum of 3,
Mm.
because it's a process of unlayering and healing, but it's transformative and beautiful. And I've been doing it for 26, almost 27 years. And I also am a certified trainer and train people to become certified hypnotherapists. So, with colleagues of mine. And it's really quite beautiful. But so that's why I think personally hypnosis is one of the most effective tools we can use because I've had a private psychotherapy practice for 26 years or longer, I think. And yeah, sure, people stay with me 10, 14, 15, 18 years. But if they don't want to do the deep work, man, does it take a long time through regular talk therapy to get there.
I bet.
But if you're willing to do the work, you can find layers of and levels of healing and change in your life in 3 to 6 sessions, depending on what you've been through in your life. And that is worth the investment in yourself, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't
Oh,
ask anyone to do anything I haven't done because that's how I've done my work. That's how I was able to do so much healing. I went from traditional talk therapy into hypnotherapy, first professionally and then personally. And I do talk about those stories in my book. I hope that
Amazing.
answered the question.
Yes, I'm just like, you're talking about layers, and I just keep getting I'm so fascinated and inspired by all of your layers. I mean, you're doing the traditional sessions, you're doing the hypnotherapy, you're conscious parenting coach. I just am so fascinated by you. Got a
Oh,
lot going on. So many skills.
there's a
So
lot
you're
going on.
Yeah, you're so talented. But as you're talking about healing,
Mm,
setting boundaries, being aware of ourselves, all the things, the words that keep coming to me is that people don't necessarily have self compassion for themselves in all of this. So, can you talk about how important that is?
oh my God. It is the one of the most important components to healing,
Mm,
self-compassion and self-forgiveness, right? We're not forgiving the person who wronged us, but we're forgiving ourselves for the impact our coping skills developed out of that event have had on the adult self because we never meant to hurt ourselves. We were surviving in the moment. So when we can do that, we can then have compassion because I can have compassion for that 5-year-old who fell and then decided, well, it's all on me. Holy
yes,
cow, she was only 5. She had no other resource. And man, she did a pretty good job. And that's how we can find self-compassion like, wow, I can't understand that younger version of myself and be kind to her. And if I can be kind to her, I can be kind to me in the now and just be forgiving and be loving, right? So what can you do that's loving of yourself and for yourself each day, even if it's just saying a few kind words or getting up in the morning and drinking a glass of water before you have a cup of coffee, just giving yourself simple things. Do a face mask once a week. You know,
yes,
take a walk, sit in the quiet and do nothing. Step outside and stand on the grass. Find ways to be kind to yourself and give yourself that compassion. They don't have to be anything that costs you any money. There are tons of free stuff right
very
outside your
true.
backyard or in your kitchen.
So true. I mean, you see so much. You see so much in your work. I mean, what do you feel like the biggest mistake you're seeing parents make?
Mm, that's a really good question. I think parents blame themselves too much,
Mm,
honestly.
yeah,
I'm a bad mother because my kid ABCD. No, you're not a bad mother. It is not all your fault. Depending on the age of your child, especially teenagers, right? They have a co-creation, a part of what's going on. Did we set the stage? Possibly, yes, because of our wounded parts, but it's still not all your fault. I believe parents for the most part, there's always exceptions, do the best they can with the resources they have. So if a parent isn't resourced, whether that's financially, support in their life by other friends or family members, insurance, work, um, community, they're going to be stressed to the limit. And I think that comes back to your compassion question for parents to understand, like, holy cow, what you're dealing with is really hard.
it's
And
true.
maybe you've been doing it a certain way all these years, but it's never too late to begin a new way. Because when parents start doing that for themselves, they will see a shift in their relationship with their children. I didn't learn conscious parenting till my youngest was 11. That means my older two were 17 and 18. It wasn't too late to start. Even though my youngest, 2 weeks into me reading my first book by Dr. Shafali, The Awakened Family, said to me, What's going on, Mom? You're talking about feelings all the time. Like she knew something was up because I was different. I was showing up differently, all from reading a book.
It's awesome. That is so wonderful. Never too late.
Never too late, right? So, your comment about self-compassion, I do think is underneath parents being so hard on themselves. They're not self-compassionate. They're just,
Mm,
if I keep being mean to me and blaming me, how's anything going to change with your kid? If you're treating yourself so poorly, you don't have resources to give to your kid.
it's true. Very true. Well, I could talk to you all day. I have a list of more questions I could ask you, but tell me if there's anything that you feel like I didn't touch on before I let you go.
Well, I think I'd like to leave your parents with a resource, if
Yes,
that's
please.
okay.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah. So it's something I call the tango,
Mm.
and it's about play. Because parents don't, they're so in it, like you were saying, like how we started the conversation, my daughter's coming at me, what do I do? So when my daughter um was much littler, bedtime, as most parents have, was a big event. Lots of crying, tears, tantrums, resistance.
Oh, geez.
And right, the only way I was able to transform it was through play.
Mm.
And so we would, I have a long hallway in the where the bedrooms are. So we would dance down the hallway to the tango. And I would sing the tango tune, da-dum, dum, dum, dum. And we would do 3 or 4 laps up and down the hallway. And in the end, we would end with a twirl and a dip. And then I could toss her on the bed, and the angst and agitation and trauma around bedtime became fun. So I have a little acronym called the Tango to help parents remember to play and tango and what to do. So the T is to take that purposeful pause. I've been talking about stop, just stop, pause, take care of yourself. The A is awareness. What is coming up with you in the moment? What is your felt experience? Again, as we've been talking about, awareness of the physical body. N is need. What do you, the parent, need right now to take care of you, to regulate yourself in this moment when maybe emotions are running high, right?
Mm.
G, ground yourself. Find a way to get grounded. That means find a way to find some stability. And as I spoke about before, get a drink of water, step outside. Maybe you need to do jumping jacks or something just to get the energy out, to release the anxiety that's inside. And then, oh, this is an opportunity for the parent to reconnect with their child through a new energy and with play. So if parents can remember to tango, no matter where you are, what you're doing, not only at bedtime, it really will help transform that moment. And you can do it with your older kids too.
You took the words out of my mouth. Yes. Yes, because
Mm-hmm.
humor and play works with teenagers.
100%.
Yes.
100%. Sometimes I'm just so ridiculously silly and stupid with my kids are in their 20s now, but still, I
Yeah.
find I need to switch up the energy sometimes.
Yes. My kids were talking about me dancing in the kitchen yesterday, and they don't know. I mean, they won't listen to this. They won't get my secret, but it is one of my keys to shifting the energy in the house. Just be
Ex-
silly, everybody.
exactly, exactly.
Oh my goodness. I can't thank you enough. You are sincerely a wealth of knowledge. I can tell how wonderful you are at what you do. And I want you to tell everybody where they can find you and your book.
Thank you. So the best way for people to find me and to access my book and even get a free copy of the first chapter is on my website, which is my name, Janet Philbin, PHILBIN.com. And they can get to all my social media there. They can reach out to me there. I love getting emails from people. If they want to work with me, just send me an email. I'll offer a free consultation. And yeah, that's really the best way. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I even have a TikTok, so people can find me. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for spending
Thank
time with
you.
us and giving us so much awesome advice today.
This was great. Thank you, Rebecca. It's been so much fun.
This is Rebecca Green, and I want to remind everyone to spend every day laughing, learning, and loving. Thank you for tuning in to the Whiny Palooza podcast. If you like what you heard, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. While you are there, leave a review. I love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.